Hey everybody, it's William Narod here, the Paradise Guy. Thank you so much for joining me. Taking a nice little stroll around here today, and I'm thinking about what I'm going to cover in today's video. You see, I want to educate you guys about what's going on right now in Belize, but I also want to contrast that with our neighboring country, Mexico, to show you the differences in ways these countries are dealing with COVID and the differences in ways that they're dealing with upcoming tourism. So stay tuned. All right, well, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me again. I'm going to cover a lot of information, so I'm going to use some notes, which I usually don't do in videos, but I want to make sure I get through all this information efficiently so that you get a good understanding of what's going on in Belize and what's going on in Mexico and how that's going to affect your travel plans in the future, how that's going to affect your investment, how that's going to affect how you're going to utilize your vacation investment and, of course, retirement destinations in the future. So let's get started. With Belize. Belize right now has a reputation around the Caribbean as a very successful country in dealing with COVID because right now there are no official cases in the country. Now there have been 18 that were officially diagnosed, 16 of those have recovered. Unfortunately, the other 2 passed away. As of right now, as of today, there are no officially diagnosed cases. Does that mean that Belize is completely COVID-free? No. COVID is still around in Belize. I'm sure there are people out there that still have it. It just simply means that maybe they haven't been tested yet, and it means that more testing is obviously necessary. That being said, Belize has relaxed a lot of its requirements for quarantine. People are now allowed out to go to the beach, they're allowed to go to the grocery stores, they're allowed to go to open air restaurants. These open air restaurants have some very specific rules. You can go to an open air restaurant, maximum of 10 people in your party, you have to wear a mask, and you have to be 10 feet away from the next table. And you can only take off your mask when you're eating. Additionally, you can only drink alcohol with food that you've ordered at that restaurant. So some interesting rules when you look around between Mexico and Belize. They're a little bit different. Heck, if you look around the world, you're going to see that it's different everywhere. I'm always here to make sure that you guys have a good understanding of this. I'm always here to be a trusted resource. If you'd like to know more and be in touch with me on a more intimate basis and know how to digest this and what to do about it, I've actually started a group called BelizeSuccess.com. It's Belize Success Mastery. And this is for people that really have a long-term view of Belize and or Mexico, and they want to know what to do, when to do it, and how to get it done. So go to BelizeSuccess.com when you get a chance and make sure you check that out. So let's move right along. The state of emergency in Belize, still in effect, at least for now. The borders and the international airport still remain closed. However, the Prime Minister said the other day that they have a soft goal of opening up the international airport as early as July 1st. That is dependent upon a couple things. One is they've talked about an immunity passport, meaning is it true that you've actually had the virus and you have some sort of immunity to it? In that case, maybe you'll be allowed to come into the country. Or secondarily, you take a test at the border and it shows that indeed you are COVID-free. Under those circumstances, they would consider opening up tourism again and letting people come into the country. I will relate this to you right now. It's a very serious measure in any country that's dependent upon tourism, and that is, without tourism, everything in that country eventually wilts and dies. So tourism is how these countries get along. Tourism is of ultimate importance, and both countries are looking at how to make sure that happens as soon as possible while making sure that people in the country, the citizens and the expats living there, are as safe as possible. So let's move along. The mandatory quarantine, like I said, has been lifted. The open air restaurants are moving along. There is still a curfew in effect. It happens at 8 p.m. and in the morning you can get up between 6 and 8 and you can actually go and exercise without your mask. Now I find that interesting because, you know, obviously when you're exercising and breathing hard, you're breathing out lots of vapors and germs, etc. But apparently between 6 and 8, COVID is not in that, so don't worry about it. Go out and run, jog, bike, or whatever you want to do between 6 and 8 a.m. You're not contagious during that time. Other times of the day, you got to wear that mask because you're certainly contagious then. Yes, I'm being a little sarcastic, but some of these rules are rules without real reason. I know they have the best intentions behind them, and this is not just Belize, this is not just Mexico, this is America, this is Europe, this is all over the world. These rules just, frankly, sometimes it's frustrating because you try to process the logic behind this and they just simply don't make sense. So I digress, let's move along. Let's look at the tourist economy right now in Belize. Even though the restaurants are now open, even though the locals that are left, the locals that haven't left and gone back to their respective home countries. See, there's been repatriation flights from Canada and the United States leaving Belize on a fairly regular basis. A lot of people have taken advantage of that. Obviously, that means less people in Belize to go to these restaurants and bars and to give them the business they need to survive. So what kind of opportunities is that going to create in the future? Well, it's going to create a lot, because there's going to be a lot of businesses that are going to fold. There's going to be a lot of businesses that are for sale. There's going to be a lot of gaps in the market whereby which you can come in and fill a need in the future. What I'm telling you is this: I'm going to work with a select group of people to make sure that you have all the information you need so that you can execute and make the right move at the right time so that you can capitalize on this in the future. You see, Belize is going to need investment. Belize is going to need tourism. Belize is going to need people that are there to prop up this economy. So people like you that are watching this right now, that are going to come here and vacation, that are going to come here and invest, that are going to come here and retire, that are going to come here and start a business, are vital to the economy. And so my goal is to make sure I communicate all the information and give you the guidance you need to go ahead and get that done in the most successful way possible. Again, if you'd like more information on that and you would like to connect with me personally, go to BelizeSuccess.com right now. So let's talk about Mexico. Well, Mexico is an amazing place. If you've ever been there, a huge tourist destination. Quintana Roo is the area I'm going to discuss today. Quintana Roo currently has some interesting things going on, a little bit different than Belize. First and foremost, what you need to know is there's a lot more diagnosed cases there. There's a lot more people that have died as a result of this. Just to give you some numbers on that, as of May 16th, Quintana Roo had 1,315 diagnosed cases of COVID-19. Out of those diagnosed cases, 245 people unfortunately passed away, and 819 of those have actually fully recovered. The government, despite that, has announced that as of June 1st, tourism is going to gradually start reopening in Mexico. See, he realizes that there's a balance between safety of the citizens and, of course, survival of the citizens, because they're dependent upon the dollars of the tourists that come to Mexico. Belize is certainly no different. Several airlines this week actually announced as well that they will be opening up direct flights to Cancun as of June 7th. Go to Southwest, and I believe it's American Airlines, maybe even United. Check with them and see what kind of direct flights you can get down to Cancun, because there's certainly a lot of opportunity to come down here and get some incredible deals, especially with the hotels, because they are very hungry. So some of the rules here are kind of interesting. One, beaches are closed. Oh, beautiful beaches in Mexico, but you can't go to them right now. Two, only one family member can go into a grocery store at a time. I know, kind of interesting. Only two people to a car. I don't know if that's a mom and a dad and a kid, what you do. I guess the kid has to ride on the roof rack. I don't know, but only two people allowed to a car. I'm being funny there. Restaurant and bars are takeout only. No out-of-state license plates are actually allowed in the state of Quintana Roo. International Airport in Cancun, by the way, has never closed here. It has always been open. There just haven't been a lot of flights that have been scheduled to come here. Gyms, just like in Belize, have been closed, but we expect those to start opening in Mexico before too long as well. So, no, as of June 1st, Mexico is going to start opening for business again. As of July 1st, hopefully Belize is going to do the same thing. The question is what are you going to do to learn in the meantime to make sure you're ready to take full advantage of whatever happens in either place? What I would suggest is go to BelizeSuccess.com right now, check out what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. You see, times have changed. I have to communicate with a lot more people. I've been getting contacted by literally 10 to 15 people every single day wanting to know what's going on in Belize, what's going on in Mexico, how do I capitalize on this, when can I come on vacation, etc., etc. I want to give this information, but I want to give it in the right way. It's no longer relevant for you to come down and sit with me one-on-one and have a long conversation. It's better to meet online, have those conversations, have those phone calls, get on those WhatsApp conversations, get in those Facebook groups, all of which is part of this. Go to BelizeSuccess.com right now and check it out. I seriously want to hear from you. I seriously want you to register and sign up for this, and I want to help you do whatever it is you want to do in paradise. So with that, it's always a privilege and a pleasure to talk to you guys. It's always a privilege to see you in paradise. And with that, my name is William Nayrod. As always, I am the Paradise Guy. We'll see you down here soon. Cheers.